Retire early, create passive income, hit a six-figure salary. That's what we're sold as financial freedom. Everyone talks about it like it's one big finish line. But is that what we really want? Is that what our hearts truly desire? Or is that just what we've been told we should want? Here's the truth. That version of financial freedom, it doesn't fit most people's lives anymore. The world's changed, the economy's changed, and most importantly, we've changed. Today, real financial freedom isn't just about quitting your job or living on a beach. It's about autonomy, having choices. It's about alignment, building a life that reflects your values. It's about resilience, knowing you can handle whatever comes next. And once you start chasing that version of freedom, everything else starts to make a lot more sense. So what's the real truth about financial freedom right now? Well, for starters, it's not about escaping from life. Let's talk about it what it really is, starting with the most obvious. The world we're living in today isn't the world our parents or grandparents planned for. The truth is, most of the old advice about money and freedom was built for a completely different time. Back then, you could work one job for 30 years, buy a house for $80,000, and expect a pension waiting for you when you retired. That model made sense for that world, but we're not living in our parents' economy anymore. Right now, we're navigating something completely different. We've got record high housing prices, cost of living outpacing wages, AI replacing jobs faster than new ones are created, and student loans, healthcare costs, or caregiver expenses, those just keep rising. The economy shifted, the job market shifted, and somewhere along the way, so did the blueprint for what makes a good life. When I was a kid, piling into the family vehicle was the vacation. We didn't stay in hotels. We didn't fly anywhere. It was simple. It was enough. Like our annual trip over to Edward's Apple Orchard to get some apple cider and homemade apple cider donuts and visit their cute little antique farm equipment museum on the property. It was the same trip year after year, and it never got old. Today, that same idea has become a lifestyle. People are selling their homes, moving into vans or RVs, and traveling full-time, not because they have to, but because they want to. Instead of making an annual trip to one place in particular, they're traveling across the United States, across Europe, across whatever country they're living in to live a life of freedom and explore things on their own terms. There are entire services now that help these modern nomads establish residency, manage mail, and live with more freedom than most homeowners do. It's wild to think about what used to be a one-year treat has now become someone's daily life. That's how much the world has changed. And honestly, I don't think we're going backward. I think we're going deeper into something simpler, more honest, more aligned with what financial freedom really feels like. So if you've been trying to follow a playbook that was written for a different era, no wonder it feels like you're falling behind. You're not doing it wrong, you're just doing it in a world that's completely changed. And when the world changes, the definition of financial freedom has to change with it. Because here's the deeper truth. You can't use a broken system to build a life that is truly aligned with the way you feel, what you value, and how you want to live your life. So before we talk about strategies, savings, or side hustles, we have to pause and ask, what does true financial freedom look like in the world we're actually living in? That question alone can unlock a totally different path forward. So let's answer that question. What does financial freedom look like right now in today's world? Because it's not just the world that's changed. We've changed too. More and more people are realizing it's not about how much money you have. It's about how much life you actually get to live and experience every single day. We've been through global upheaval. The Cold War ended. The Berlin Wall came down. The economy collapsed in 2008. And most of us will never forget the pandemic in 2020. We've watched entire industries collapse. Detroit became the Rust Belt. When I was growing up, it was Motor City because of its role in the car manufacturing industries. Department stores are mostly gone now as more and more people do their shopping online. We've felt what it feels like to be overworked, overwhelmed, and still falling behind. Over time, taking on a second job, and the ending of one-income families has completely changed everything. Now, people are starting to want something different. More and more people are defining financial freedom as more about how you feel than how much you make. Spend just 5 minutes scrolling social media and you'll see it everywhere. People are walking away from the life we were told to chase. They're buying land, fixing up old houses, raising chickens, baking homemade bread, and working with their hands. They're quitting higher paying jobs to live slower, more grounded lives. I've even seen some people talking about building family compounds where multiple generations live on the same piece of land so they can support one another, share resources, and raise kids in multi-generational communities. What's wild is this is exactly the life people were trying to escape from 50 or 60 years ago. Back then, modern convenience was the dream. Make enough money so you don't have to do all that hard work anymore. But you know what I think happened? We got the convenience, but we lost our time. Our lives didn't get easier, they got busier. So now, a new kind of freedom is emerging. It's not about having more, it's about having less of the excess and more of what matters. Instead of chasing a number in the bank, people are asking, how can I create more space in my day? How can I stop trading all my energy for a paycheck? How can I build a life that actually reflects what matters to me? Freedom today is less about escape and more about ownership. Owning your time, owning your decisions, owning the rhythm of your life. It's about creating a life you don't want to escape from. And here's the real shift. We're not chasing a finish line anymore. We're chasing alignment, not someday goals, but rather alignment with our lives right now. Because if your life is out of sync with your values, no amount of money will ever feel like enough. You can be making 6 figures and still feel broke. You can be debt-free and still feel trapped, or you can make less, but feel completely free because your life is finally yours again. So if the old version of financial freedom doesn't work and the new one is more about alignment, peace, and ownership, what does that actually look like in real life? One of the clearest examples, working from home. A few years ago, it was a dream, something only freelancers or entrepreneurs could pull off. But now, it's the norm for millions of people. There's people doing traditional jobs that once went off to an office for work, who are now working 9-to-5 jobs and doing it in their sweatpants from their kitchen table. Technology made it possible, but mindset made it desirable. We're not just working differently, we're rethinking why we work the way we do. Here's the truth. Financial freedom today isn't about quitting your job or making millions. It's about building a life that doesn't require you to escape in the first place. That could mean having space in your schedule so you're not always racing the clock, saying no to work that drains you, even if it pays well, stepping away from groups or communities you've outgrown, especially when they no longer support your growth, your time, or your direction, choosing what enough actually means for you personally instead of constantly chasing more. And yes, it still includes smart money decisions, but those decisions are rooted in values, not fear, not society's definition of success, and not the old rules you were taught that and believed that you had to follow. It's things like creating a flexible budget that includes space for things that make you happy, paying off debt in a way that supports your lifestyle, not punishes it, choosing to never take on debt in the first place, spending with intention, saving with purpose, and defining wealth on your own terms. This is what I call real financial freedom, the ability to respond to life without losing yourself in the process, because it's that kind of freedom that holds up when things change, when the unexpected hits, when the economy shifts again. That's autonomy, that's alignment, that's resilience. And the best part, you don't have to wait to start building it. People are asking bigger questions now, questions we never used to ask, like, why should I wait until I'm old enough to retire before I pursue the things I want to do with my life? What if I never have the health, the energy, or the time to do what I really want later in my life? Why shouldn't I pursue my goals and dreams right now instead of putting them off? And the truth is, they're right to ask. Financial freedom, our life visions, our peace of mind, these aren't things that we earn someday later. They're things we create intentionally every single day. So if you've been chasing a version of financial freedom that doesn't quite fit anymore, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the definition that just needs to change. Financial freedom and the life you're meant to build isn't something you have to hope to have someday. It's something you choose to have for yourself right now. And when you start walking towards that vision from the place of clarity, everything else makes a lot of sense. If financial freedom is about building a life that actually fits you, the next step is making sure you don't build that life on the wrong foundation. Watch this video next to learn how to build it on the right foundation.